Hey leaders, it's great to be back in the office. It's Monday, and last week I was at Catalyst, and it was just an exciting time at Catalyst where we had a chance to be challenged by big leaders out there in the Christian world. There's 13,000 leaders there. And I sent you an email last week kind of talking about that a little bit of what happened, and it was just a fun time. But on my way back, I was listening to a podcast, one that just helping to develop me as a leader and whatnot. And I wanted to challenge you all with something that the podcast leader, Jim Weidman, what he said that kind of made me really think about how I should do ministry, how I produce somebody, how I reproduce somebody. And that is, he said, be a duplicator and not a dumper. Be a duplicator and not a dumper. And so real quick, I want to look at, dumper. What does being a dumper mean? It's a verb. It means to dump. And the verb dump means to drop or let fall in a mass, to fling down or drop heavily or suddenly. Kind of a sentence would be like, dump the topsoil here. You're just going to dump it in a huge mass and have it happen. It means to empty out as of a container by tilting or overturning. It means to unload or empty out, to be dismissed or to be released from a contract. And then the one on the last one, is to transfer or rid oneself of sudden and irresponsibility. To transfer or rid oneself of suddenly or irresponsibility. The phrase be like, don't dump your troubles on me. And so examples are like dump trucks, trash trucks, wheelbarrows, they all carry, and when it comes time to unload, it's just a dump. They just dump it in one spot, and it's done. So then it's got to be sorted out, and it's usually not pretty. So let's not be dumpers. Let's be duplicators. Now let's look at a duplicator. The noun to duplicate means an exact copy of like an original. Anything corresponding in all respects to something else. The verb would be to make an exact copy of, to do or perform again and again, or to double, make twofold. And that's really what I want to challenge you guys to be. A dumper, when we dump in our ministry, it's like we recruit somebody, and then we just dump all the responsibility on them and just say, go do it. And you're being a dumper at that point in time, because there was no training, there was no mentoring, no shadowing. They didn't get to see you do it to really understand how they should do it, and maybe not even you do it, but like being a Sunday school teacher, a listener, nursery worker in a classroom, you could easily pair two people up. So prospective new teacher, new listener, new nursery worker could be paired up with another person, and that person can model how it's done. So they're duplicating each other. But then you as a leader need to be duplicating yourself. And how's that done? I mean, you really can't just go recruit another Sunday school director. You're going to be my trainer or Sunday school director, and that's what you're going to do. You can't really recruit another just Awana commander. You're going to be my second Awana commander, so when I'm not here, someone's there. I don't know that that's feasible. But working with somebody, maybe, recruiting and getting somebody out of a position or freed up in their classroom, in their Awana room, their nursery room, to where they can maybe model you more or follow you more so that they can be an example to you. You can invest in the people that way. When I worked at Johnson Controls, I was the molding technician. And I was a machine operator to begin with. And I would train machine operators. And what they would do is they'd hire a guy, and he'd come and he'd work with me for 2 to 3 nights before they would give him his own set of machines. And then I would become a molding technician, which was like a floor supervisor. So I was over 5 or 6 men, and then each man had anywhere from 4 to 7 machines. And so I had all those machines, anywhere from 30, 40, 50 machines. And so to duplicate myself, because they were not going to hire another molding technician because that was the supervisor spot, but I would take a guy and I would ask him to follow me around for maybe certain jobs that I did throughout the night. Not pulling him away from his normal job, so he did his normal job and he would follow me. And then there was nights where I would just say, hey, for the next 3 hours you're doing my job, and I would hand him my clipboard and my tools, and I would jump on his machines and I would go down to his spot. I would go from being a molding technician down to machine operator. And he would come up to my spot and he would run my machine, or do what I did, and I would run his machines for a few hours, sometimes all night, just so I could duplicate myself. And when I resigned from that spot, they asked me, Dave, who can do your job? I said, any one of my men can do my job, any one of them. Then they said, well, who would you put in there? And I said, I would put, and then I gave them a name, a guy that I thought could do it and lead it well. So when you're going to be gone, invite somebody to take your spot and then allow them to duplicate somebody else that they can have come in their spot. So like, let's just use Awana for an example. So the Awana commander is going to be gone. So she finds one of her directors who she thinks could be another Awana commander. And even if you don't know, try it. What do you have to lose? You got me there. You got, my wife's there. Invite them to come and be the Awana commander. And then you have them pick one of their leaders to be their director for the night. And then you're developing twofold, two layer down. Desiree, for the nursery, same thing happens. You invite somebody to take, and you do that. You do that well. You have ladies that can do your position when you're not here. And so for Sunday school, kids worship, I suggest you do the same thing. Because I can't always be the guy to jump in and lead that area with the other responsibilities I have, being on major ministry staff. So I want to challenge you guys to do that. Let's be duplicators, not dumpers. Invest a little bit at a time, and let's make exact copies of ourselves. As far as doing the job, can't make an exact copy of you, personality and all that, but let's recruit people, and let's not dump stuff on them and smother them, but let's duplicate ourselves and other people. I just want to challenge you to do that. And Jesus lived that out. Jesus lived that out. He invited guys to come do ministry alongside of him, but we see a lot of times he did it and then encouraged them to do it. There was times he just gave them jobs to do. Then when they did it, or maybe they were scared to do it, then he would teach them along the way. He never chastised them for lack of faith or whatever, but he did model, he did encourage, and he did empower people to do what they did. So instruct, do it, and then evaluate it. So instruct people, let them do it, and then evaluate them and model alongside with them. Thanks for listening and watching, and I hope this has been helpful and encouraging to you this week, and we'll talk to you later.